Hi, how's it going? And welcome to Lippy Presents Ghost News Network. Today is our paranormal discussion. Brandon, what do you got for us?
Alright, so I know most of us have seen the documentary Zach Bagans made, Demon House. Is it real? Is it bullshit?
Real.
Alright, before we go into it, the fact, I just looked it up and it said it had a budget of like $7.5 million. Like, if it's just an extended episode of Ghost Adventurers, like, why are you gonna need that much money to produce that?
I don't think it was like an extended episode of Ghost Adventures.
It was its own solo
his
thing.
own documentary he did on the Demon House. It wasn't really linked to Ghost Adventures. It wasn't. It was like something totally separate. $7 million budget.
He also bought the property.
If that's included in there, that's a different story.
I mean, it was a rundown.
But I can tell you right now, that house probably sold for $38,000.
I was gonna say, it was a piece
Okay.
of garbage. That's true.
It was in a not so great area. You know, like in the documentary when he arrives at the house, there's squatters in there, and that's my first question: is if it's so bad, okay, where people go in there and they leave because it's that intense. Squatters, is it worse to be left in the cold or deal with what the hell's in that house?
In Gary, Indiana?
The squatters say nothing happened to them when they were there.
So you gotta imagine that.
But then
Did
you
they talk to
also
the
have
squatters?
what's up?
Did they talk to the squatters?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they talked to them.
in the beginning.
They say nothing happened, but then you also have local PD says otherwise.
Mm.
And these are
I mean,
police
you have
officers.
documentation and a caseworker that went there and
Right.
witnessed some kid crawling up the wall.
Yeah, I mean, there's
So-
things that happen there. I mean, people. That's the first thing that's going to come into play is the squatters. They don't feel anything there. But then again, we have our local Kings Park Sex Center, where when that place closed down, a lot of people went back. Called them nuts, but and then years later, I mean, there's still squatters that go in there. We found rooms full of clothing and stuff. Not my first place of choice to go. Then again, I'm not fucking insane. So maybe these squatter people are just like, yeah, well, they're just insane in that aspect of the paranormal doesn't bother them in that way.
Plus, some of them go down so many drugs that they aren't aware of what's going on.
If you're tripping out on LSD, man, no, I see a demon.
See a lot worse
You're
than
like,
demons.
shit.
For
Right.
me, with the film, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. But as soon as it's Zach Bagans, it takes a hit for me. And
He's just such a
Reputability.
sensationalist. He
everything is so
everything.
sensationalized.
Every
I
bump in the
don't
night
know
is
what
just-
to. I don't know what to trust. You know, and that's the thing. And unless you're following up after the documentary on every little thing that you hear, I take it at face value. I'm like, okay, this was entertaining, and I enjoyed it. Did it happen? I think some of the stuff happened. I don't know if it happened to the extent it happened. Because as soon as that name is, and people that love Zach Bagans, that's great. As soon as that name is dropped in, I'm like, oh, it's been played up. And it takes a hit in
I mean,
reliability for me.
I get that, but it's a documentary too. It's not like they interviewed Zach. You own the house. Here you go. You investigate it by yourself, and that's all that happened. There was multiple interviews done. I mean, the mother that grew up in that house, and they brought her back in there as an adult. She brought her kids in there, and they interviewed her, and she's showing them around where she used to sleep, and the fact that her older daughter was affected. You know, the next night, attempted suicide. I mean, that's coincidence. Okay, maybe. You don't know the whole backstory of her family.
She could have mental illness. They don't talk about anything like that.
Barry Taft comes in. I met the guy. Very super scientific. You know, he doesn't have your basic bullshit K2 meter. The guy's bringing in tri-field meters. If you're using a tri-field meter, I'm going to give you a lot more credibility than you just bringing in a K2 meter. And they had some very interesting spikes. You know, and you can say, hey, that's bullshit. But then, what's the difference of them capturing that on TV and us capturing stuff? We've seen the natural tri-field meter go off here. We've seen our Geiger counter go off. Is it bullshit? No, to us, it's not.
Right.
You know, I get it. It's on TV. They capture it, but we filmed with crews before and we caught stuff before that moved. So I don't think that is. I think what he caught was real, and the fact that it's like the next day or 2 days later he had all of his organs found. He's in critical in a hospital. Coincidence? Maybe. I mean, maybe, but damn. And then you have, obviously Zach bolts himself into the house, which I would never do. But power to you. And then his eyesight craps out. Coincidence? Maybe. Do I think that's fake? No. I think that happened. I don't know. I don't know.
I need the medical records.
Looking at the case, and just knowing what I know about demonology, is it possible? Yes, it is. To my eyes, that's possible. We could tell our stories about Mount Misery and people may think we're fucking nuts.
They probably
But
do,
realistically, it happened.
Right.
And a case like this where, is that possible? I think anything's possible. It's not like they far-fetched the story. I mean, the storyline's...
Right, I'm not saying that the story's far-fetched, and I'm not saying, again, it's the sensationalism that I worry about.
See, they
And
chose
then,
it.
like, I'm sorry.
No, go.
Why would he, if it was bullshit, knock down the house and completely doze it? He could have made so
It's
much
a
money.
It's a perfect storytelling element.
I guess, but he
You-
could have
you
made a
get-
shit ton of money on it. He could have. There's millions of groups out there. I'd go.
Amityville
You know what I
Horror.
mean?
He's gonna make all the money off the. Now people want to
But
experience
now-
this house. Buy the documentary.
Go
Yeah,
see the
but
door.
for $1.99 on
For
Amazon.
$1.99 on
Fine.
Amazon, or pay $500 to stay the night.
But he also has parts of the house in his museum, so you can still see parts of the house in his
Right.
museum.
Yeah, but
So you tell me
But
these
it's different
demons
than
are
saying,
gonna
like
haunt
Mike said.
a
That's
floor
different.
panel from the house? Like,
yeah, that to me that's different.
But it cements his experience. Like, he's giving you a first-hand account of what he experiences, and then by knocking the house down, it's
Yeah.
like,
and it,
challenge what I'm saying
that
now.
broke so well before the documentary, so it could have just been used to hype up. Now, oh wow, it's so bad he demolished his house.
Right, it's
Wow, this documentary
more
must be crazy.
sensationalism,
Exactly,
yeah.
it sensationalizes it.
It could.
They took a story
Right.
that was already big. The story of like the kid and everything before Zach was ever involved was a huge story, went viral all over the internet. So then he says, all right, I'm going to take this, I'm going to capitalize on it. Bam, makes this documentary. You said, yeah, it's film documentary stuff, but the goal of this documentary was to make money, not to educate.
I mean, that's the goal of any documentary.
Yeah.
Any
But-
documentary out there is to make money.
But
You
Zach-
don't want to do it
yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
Zach says all the time, even on the show, that his number one goal is to get evidence of the paranormal.
Mhm.
If he filmed all that evidence in that house, you get evidence in that house, why knock it down? If you have that focused area of guaranteed you're going to walk in there and get some kind of evidence, whether it's really bad, losing eyesight or attempted suicide, or getting a chair that slides across the room. If you have that spot where you know something's going to happen, and that's your goal in life, why are you going to knock it down?
Okay, so I'm not speaking for Zach by any means. I can tell you on a personal level, I've been doing this for 15 years. Not many things scare me, okay? But if I owned a house like that, so I bought a specific house like that to see what is the deal, and I go in there and I have life-changing experiences, yeah, I'm gonna knock the fucker down so nobody else goes in there and has those things.
But I think what you're saying is more compelling.
If everything that everyone says that happened really did happen, girl attempted suicide, all organs fail, and he's still in critical, and Zach almost loses an eye. I said, yeah, I demoed the fucking house too, because who's to say the next person that walks in that house, they don't die? That's on your hands. So I get the reasoning behind it. I get what you're saying with demo the house. Now you can't can't make the challenge. You can't say, well, you can't prove it's bullshit or not. You don't know. I get both what you're saying, but
It's like Amityville Horror, if they would have demolished the house right after,
Right,
the Lutz family
yeah,
left
never know,
yeah.
right.
then it's like,
But I mean,
I guess I believe it a lot more too because they have proof through law enforcement and through the caseworker that had witnessed it themselves with their own two eyes It's written in reports. You know, it's documented.
Legal
So
documents. Yeah.
Plus, there was
that?
evidence of like
Legal
satanic
documents.
rituals there
Legal
before.
documents.
Like they found
Right.
that underneath the stairs there was that site with the
That's
candles and the bones and everything
Right.
else. I mean,
Oh,
someone,
yeah, that's
someone was
right.
definitely fucking around with something
Right.
there. So
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't think that there's nothing going on there. I'm thinking that they took a cool ghost story and, you know, pumped it up.
Right. And I don't disagree with that at all. But who doesn't do that?
Yeah.
Everywhere you go. Now we've investigated many places. You take a place like Burlington Prison. They hype that up. We don't really catch much. Eastern State Penitentiary, go bigger. Hype that place up, and that place is very intimidating. We didn't capture anything when we went there.
Right.
I was told Waverly Hills, go even bigger than Eastern State. Hyped up, they really hyped that place up. But I've been told by people that investigated on TV, I'm not mentioning names, if you can make the trip, cool, just to knock it off your bucket list, but realistically, it ain't worth it. It's not worth driving 12 hours to Kentucky and dropping $2,500 on a weeknight to investigate it. So every place is hyped up. You know, when we go into places, Mount Misery Road for us, it's where we hype that up. That's our baby. That's our bitch. You know? But to other people, might have gone in there and were like, ain't shit here. You know?
They're not going the right time either.
They're not going right now. But that could be, there's a lot of things, you know. There's definitely, you know, there's a lot of things. I know Gettysburg, for many years, that everyone knows the location. Whether you're in the paranormal field or not, you know Gettysburg. And where, you know, you've always heard the ghost stories that happened there. Have any of you guys have gone there and seen an entire war scene going on, battle? I haven't yet. I've gone there many times. So the hype is so hyped up.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that those experiences never happened. We just never experienced it. So, I mean, I get what you're saying about Zach. He's not the most credible source. His style is different than ours. You
I
know,
just
they
can't
go
get-
to some crazy
I was gonna say, I
places.
can't get over the fact he goes to some of the most haunted places on planet Earth. He has access to all these places that no one goes to. He goes in there and he'll call the demon a bitch and provoke and whatnot. But like,
Nothing happened. Maybe nothing ever happened, or not enough to push him over the edge. Everyone has a tipping point, you know, and
Well, I
we
think
can all sit here and talk about it.
this is the hook, though. I think.
You know?
I think, you, like in your mind, you view him as he's this paranormal investigative icon, and like he's been to all these horrible places. And then, well, this is the on paper description, right? And then he makes this documentary, and he ends up having to knock this house down. Now, all of the people who are already on board with what he does go, "Whoa, this place
That
was
place must have been-
that
it's
bad."
been everywhere.
And you're right; it doesn't delegitimize the experiences that happen there. It's just, I think it's a really compelling piece of his narrative. That it's like his place was that bad. Like someone almost committed suicide after experiencing something. A skeptic went in and went into total organ failure within 24 hours, which is a medical anomaly. And then you have this trained paranormal investigator with all this experience behind him, and this is how he would describe himself. That's not me describing him. But he goes in and he's like, I have to knock this place down. No one can ever experience this. It's that bad.
But there's this, he owns it. He don't own all of the places.
No,
He
I know.
He-
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
He had the power and the ability to
Mhm.
knock it down, where he
Yeah.
didn't have the power to do that. These other places were
Yeah.
just a
Wouldn't
guess.
it, but if it was really that bad, it was like a gateway to some other plane of existence that was like bordering on the ethereal. Why wouldn't you keep that up to study it for future research? Like if all this shit is happening within within like a 24-hour fucking as you're filming this, why wouldn't you keep it around and put a friggin'
to take it from a pseudoscience to a science. Like,
Or to prevent more squatters from going in there, or more people after the fact that the documentary films and breaking in there and trying to summon shit up, and Lord knows what'll happen.
I mean,
then, you know?
ideally, if you have something like that, like you're saying, it gives you the opportunity to really go into the scientific theory. You could build a glass dome around the building and actually make a clean room out of it. It's so hard in this field, especially when you do urban myths and legends and things like that, to get that clean room experience and have that much access to a location, to test out all the theories, to push the boundaries, to see what you can get out of it in terms of, making it more of a legitimate science. That's what we're all here to
But
do.
if those things happen to you, if this was our team and we went and those things happen to all of us, random things, health issues, whatever. Would you want to go back in there and push the limits because it hurt you this time?
Right.
You know, it's gonna kill you next time. It probably would. In my
You know, like Mount Misery Road, we run a thin line. What is it going to take for us to say, you know what, this year we're not going to go back? Is it going to take somebody to get dragged out of there? Is it going to take somebody to get the shit beaten out of them when we go there? Something that we can't physically explain what the hell just happened? You know, I don't think everyone can say what they want. Like, hey, you know, like, that's great, we should keep the place open and do more studies, but you don't know until you've gone to that point. When you've hit that point of, it's too much, you know, none of us ever hit that yet.
Well, you're not thinking about
Nobody
further
hit it.
validation if you're already 110%.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Convinced
nothing
what's
ventured,
going on.
nothing gained. I mean, look at the discovery of radiation. Mary Curie died of radiation poisoning, but she discovered radiation doing that
She
kind of
didn't
stuff.
know it was gonna kill her.
Well, there are always going to be people like that. There are always going to be people who are of the scientific mindset who are like, I do not care what happens to me doing this. I want to find out more.
If you're from a scientific mindset, would you necessarily believe in demonic activity?
That's the point.
No.
So then
So I would
there
just
you
keep
go.
throwing myself at it.
But
And like,
at
there's
this
a gas leak somewhere. There's like something's going on.
Like a
There's
tremor
vaporized
chip off the house,
hydrogen peroxide giving people retinopathy. Like I would be in there, and then I would die from it, and then everybody would be like,
Legitimate
shit going on there. Yeah.
It's
Someone's got to be a martyr.
It's definitely hard to say. You know, like none of us have ever experienced that realm of the paranormal
Right.
yet. I mean, Mount Misery doesn't even compare, I feel, to if that stories are true or
Right,
whatever
right.
we're saying. It doesn't even come close to it.
Right.
I feel like like what if we did go to Mount Misery and something like that happened? You know, where if somebody did have like organ failure and there was, you know, you go to a doctor and they can't figure out why. Somebody completely healthy and all of a sudden, bam. You know, and then a year later we go back and something like that happens again.
Mm-hmm.
When do you say, no, I'm done. I'm not going back there. You know, you're going to tell me after 2 times that you're going to go back a 3rd time? Just to see what happens again?
Dimitri's like,
Bullshit. Because you know what? We went to the Little People Village and you bitches didn't even sit on that fucking floor. What if I'm gonna die in 7 years? What if? What if? That's always in the back of your head is what if.
But what
So-
if it's a coincidence? That what if also
You want to
works
take that chance?
Quick straw poll. Raise everybody's hands. Knowing what we know, if that house was still there and you had the opportunity to be locked
Would I
in
go
the way
back
Zach
in?
would, who would do it?
When I go in, yeah,
Absolutely
I
go in
would.
there. Absolutely.
Who wouldn't do
I
it?
would.
I would absolutely go in there.
I wouldn't do it.
It's
You
the
wouldn't
same.
do it.
I
It's
wouldn't
the
do
same
it. I know I'm
thing.
talking to Jason, but I wouldn't do
You
it.
shouldn't do it.
It's
Are you
no
fucking
different
kidding
than
me?
the Little People Village. You sit in that door and you're gonna die in 7 years. Just a myth. Do we know anybody that died? I don't know. It's a myth.
See,
There's more things that happen in
I-
that house than the Little People Village, and you guys
I-
wouldn't sit in that throne, but you'll stay at night in that
I would-
house.
it's
I
different.
call bullshit.
It's
I call
different.
bullshit
I would
on you guys.
say,
No,
I
call
would
bullshit.
say, at what point does it, if you believe in it that much, at what point does it become psychosomatic?
It's not a matter of
I-
believing.
that is
At
a-
what
I
point
agree
does
with
it
that.
say, holy shit, I just sat, I'm gonna fucking die in 7 years, and you just think about it, and you
Yeah.
think
Well,
about it,
for
and
me-
your
Self-fulfilling
brain,
prophecy.
your brain starts changing the way it thinks, and you
And
obsess
then you
over
die
it.
in 7
Same
years.
thing with,
and
like,
you're
stuff
"You're
happening
about
to
Then
people after
you
they go in the
just
house.
took the entire paranormal field and flipped it upside down by saying that. Because you can alter everything, every investigation that you were ever on, anything you've ever caught is bullshit. It's summed up by yourself.
See, with the Little People Village, for me, that would be a respect thing. So I wouldn't sit in the chair just out of respect.
I don't think that applies to the demon house because with the Little People chair, there's there's nothing to benefit from by sitting in the chair. You're not proving it.
You're not proving anything, exactly.
But
Yes,
if
you
you
are.
don't,
You're proving that the myth is bullshit.
I
Absolutely.
guarantee you, there's been
7
people
years
that
to
sat in
figure it
that
out.
chair and did not die in 7 years. I tell you
Well,
what,
you're
if we go
only
back,
gonna
I'll
hear
sit in
about
the chair.
people that
If that
do
makes you
die.
feel better, I'll sit. No problem.
I'm not saying that.
I'll sit there, but I'm saying going into the demon house and catching that evidence and trying to debunk it, just doing everything that you can as an individual to try to explain whatever's there. that has benefit.
You could turn into a legitimate
Kind
science.
of. I don't know, dude.
And if you
And
go
you
in,
can't,
and
you
if
know,
you go in
damn,
there,
everyone has
if you
this
go in there and
conversation.
you go blind, is it worth it?
Like Dimitri said, you
It
could
depends
put
on your level
a
of
glass
dedication.
dome around it, make it a clean room, set up a
Impossible.
shit ton of DVR
Impossible.
systems.
It's
He
impossible.
owned it. He could
It's
do whatever he wanted with it.
You cannot. When you talk about a clean room in the paranormal, you're talking about two totally different things. It's not possible.
Okay, let's
you're
say
talking
you
about
don't
a realm
let-
that's not earthbound.
There's a way to not
Nope.
let people inside the house.
I'm
they
saying
figure
to
out a
keep-
way to do that.
They did. They locked him in.
I'm saying not
No,
to let
I'm
people
saying to
inside.
like literally
And
contain
just
the
have
house
it
in
locked.
an environmentally safe thing where you don't have to go in. You can set up things inside and have people
Right.
go in
Set
and
Set
up
out.
up 24/7
Set
DVR
up-
for a year. And
Just
then
like you
tear
would
it down.
test
That's it.
anything.
They can do all the
You don't have to worry about drafts. You don't have to worry about weather changes, that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about water
Nobody in,
leakage.
nobody out.
100% control environment. Everything.
It's the
so
ultimate control.
that way, if something happens, you know for a fact there's nothing to explain it.
I mean, that's
You know that there's no gamma radiation inside. You know that there's no power to the house. You know that there's nothing moving inside that house. So if you get any kind of glitch of something on the camera, that's not explainable. You can't explain it because you have it 100% controlled. But you can't do
He
that
had
now
the
because it's knocked out.
means, he had the money to be able to do that for some length of time.
No, he couldn't.
Why not?
Because there's a house to the left. There's a house to the
Well, what
right.
happens when you
How
fumigate
you
a house?
told me.
You throw a friggin'.
so. Let me ask you this: why not move the house to a warehouse?
Maybe slow
Maybe
down.
it's the
But is
property.
it
Could
the
be the
property?
land.
That's the question. Is it the house or is it the property?
That's
That's what I'm
It's
asking.
the property.
House
He didn't
is
do
the
And
shit
you
by
know what
tearing
though?
it down.
If you talk about
He tore
if you
it
talk
down,
about
said-
demonic, it's neither. It's neither.
I'm so over this.
Because
It's pissing me
the
off.
demonic-
I'm getting like
demonic's
so
not
annoyed.
Demonics
You're
are not
going in
earthbound.
circles.
So it doesn't matter. You can dome whatever you
Well, yeah,
want.
so-
Don't mean shit.
So why knock the house down?
Why not?
because clearly, right as of then, whatever.
I don't know where anybody stands on this topic anymore.
Whatever's there is happening in that house. So by destroying those walls, you could potentially end whatever's happening.
Or release it.
Free it, yeah.
Or
yeah.
free
What
it.
if there was some gas in there that caused him to get the ocular neuropathy, whatever the hell you called it? And it's like,
Well, the
what?
gas will still be there. There's no out.
No, but you can't study that gas now
His
because it's
eyes
gone.
turned. They turned in. His eyes literally, his eyes turned
What do you
on
mean?
their own. He got a
Like
pain
cross-eyed?
earlier when he was in there. Ow, my eyes hurt. And then at the end, it's like, my eyes really fucking hurt. He goes to the doctor, and his eyes were literally turned. Like, they turned.
He
Like-
wears those, he wears
Inverted.
those glasses now because
They're prism
they
glasses.
keep his eyes from like I guess crossing. Almost.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
he's got.
It
rid
wasn't
of
like
them,
an ocular
rest of his
migraine
life.
or neuropathy. It's like his eyes
I know
literally
there's like a
twisted in.
degeneration and something in there, but
Sounds-
it's literally like a
muscular.
physical thing that.
They
like
said
a
it was
muscular
impossible.
Atrophy,
According to his
at the
doctors.
rate that it
At that
happened.
rate.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happened, just even by what you're saying, Mike, destroying the house isn't going to change anything. Whatever's in that house is now somewhere else. So it doesn't
Or
matter if
still
you
on the
knock it
property.
down.
So on the,
We're
on
still
the
on
Why
property,
keep it?
yeah.
Why not keep it up? Because it's obviously staying in the house. Because there's generations of people that have stayed in that house and experienced it. Why not keep it up? Limit the access to the house and then study it.
There's no such thing
He
as
doesn't-
limited access.
He doesn't live in
We
Indiana.
just went over this. Of
There's
course
no-
there is.
No, there's not. There's absolutely no such thing as limited access. You tell me nobody's gonna break into the fucking house?
With a $7
There's
million
limited access at building 93. How many people can break in? We can go in there right now. Are you kidding me?
That's a giant building.
There's
There's
a
no
$7
such
million budget for this documentary.
I'm sorry, a private owner's not gonna have limited access.
$7 million
They-
is
they-
not a lot of money for a documentary.
It's enough to hire a security guard for 3 months.
And you know what? I go up to that security guard, give him $1,000, be like, yo, look, wait for 10 minutes. You think he's gonna take it? You're gonna hire our security or something like that? Come on, yeah.
They're sleeping.
We did that shit.
That's the Long Island.
No. There's no such thing as limited access. You're always gonna have.
I mean,
I feel like there was such missed opportunity to
I
study
don't
this.
know. Me personally, I mean, I'm super dedicated to the field. There's no question in that. Anybody that questions that can go fuck themselves. But I'm not gonna lose my. I'm not gonna lose my life over the field. Sorry, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
I'm not.
It was an entertaining documentary. The way
I like that. And I gotta say,
64% of Rotten Tomatoes.
despite what people think, for those of you watching, if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. It is a good documentary. It's entertaining. It's fun. You know, it's just whether or not you feel that it's sensationalized or fake or real. And that's the beauty of art. You can interpret it how you like.
Sounds like you do a reaction video on
so-
this.
Not art.
What? It's not art.
So
Okay.
just watch it and let us know.
Let us know, yeah. Let us know in the comments below. If you've seen the Demon House, what do you think? Real, fake, sensationalized? Where I know that's where I kind of veer into. Like, I think it's just a little, maybe over the top's not the right word, but sensationalized. Let us know what you guys think. And if you like this topic and would like to see more topics like this, or if you would like to suggest a topic for us to discuss, let us know in the comments below. So thank you guys for joining us. If you could give us the video a like, comment, and subscribe, or also if you'd like, click the little bell to get notifications on when all of our videos are uploaded. So thank you guys very much for joining us, and until next time, take care, guys.